Are you tired of playing it safe in the property market? Well, are you ready to take a chance and make a move? Then come down to Melbourne. Yes, from a Sydney person, come down to Melbourne. That's the city that got it all. With a flat property market, now is the perfect time to get in on the action in Melbourne. It's a city on the rise with a unique lifestyle, as you know, and economic benefits that will attract migrants from all over the world. And with a population of 5 million and projected to soon overtake Sydney, Melbourne is the place to be. So why wait? If your income is secure and the time is right, now is the ideal time to get a foothold in the Melbourne property market. And don't miss out on the chance of living in one of the most livable cities in the world. And yes, from a Sydney sider, I admit that. So buckle up with your coffee or whatever hell you're holding. This is a wild ride. Take a deep dive into Melbourne property market with me, so don't miss out. And before you do anything, please hit subscribe, hit the bell notification button. I'm starting to make more long YouTube videos. Do support me and hopefully you learn something. So Melbourne's housing market has been through a roller coaster ride with values soaring in 2020 and 2021, only to drop maybe 10% out of the last 12 months. So the decline rate is slowing down, and experts predict that the Melbourne property market is going to reset in 2023. So keep watching to find out why. So in November 2022, dwelling values in Melbourne increased by 2.8% compared to March 2020 when the COVID pandemic hit. Although the decline rate is easing, the current state of the market may seem daunting to some. But don't worry, the long-term outlook is still positive. So when it comes to the recent growth cycle, houses in Melbourne saw a 21% increase in value, while units only rose 10.5%. However, this trend has reversed, with house values dropping 6.7% since their peak, while unit values have only declined 3.1%. Whoa! The housing market in Melbourne is diverse and dynamic, as you can see, so it's important to remember that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. Currently, the premium segment of Melbourne's housing market is leading the downturn, but this also presents a window of opportunity for smart buyers and investors like you and I. So according to CoreLogic, Melbourne dwelling prices have dropped 1.2% in the last month, 2.9% in the last quarter, and 8.1% in the last 12 months. So there's this fancy lady, Dr. Nicola Powell, the chief economist of Domain, explains that the reduced borrowing capacity caused by the November rate hikes will impact buyer sentiment and put a brake on housing demand and prices. However, the auction clearance rates have remained firm during the spring selling season, and experts predict there will be a drive to quality Melbourne real estate markets like A-grade homes and investment-grade properties are still high in demand, while B-grade properties are taking longer to sell, and informed buyers are avoiding C-grade properties, which you should. Although discretionary buyers and sellers may have left the market for now, life goes on in Melbourne. Yep, people still get married, people get divorced, have babies, and they need to move, right? So don't worry about the slow, intake of people buying property. It just means the market is just opening up. So when interest rates drops, and inflation is under control, what do you think? It's gonna go right back up. So with the recent opening of international borders, Melbourne will attract even more new residents, putting extra pressure on the rental market. But don't be discouraged. The reset of the Melbourne property market will bring on a new property cycle and present a window of opportunity for those with a long-term perspective, like people like me and people like you, hopefully. And around a decade and a half ago, the Victorian government released Melbourne 2030, a plan that predicted Melbourne's population will reach 5 million by 2030. Little did they know, Melbourne was ahead of the game and now reached 5 million residents in 2019, 11 years before the target. So, since 2000, Melbourne's population has exploded by 44% and reached 1.5 million people, and is still projected to become the largest city in Australia by 2031 and 32, reaching 6.1 million people next year. So with Victoria's overall population expected to increase from 6.6 million to 7.8 million by 2032 and 33, the future looks bright for this living metropolis. For Gen Z, it's important to know that the apartment market in Melbourne is changing too. Although overall apartment prices have decreased from their peak, recent trends could be an indicator of the future state of the property cycle. Like lately, there has been a shift from houses to units, which has led to a narrowing of the price gap between the two. Due to the affordability constraints and perceived value, more people are turning to apartments, villa, units, townhouses as they become more affordable options. Like I've been speaking to a lot of people on TikTok and I've been telling them, hey, if you can afford a unit, a townhouse or a villa, always go for a villa or townhouse first before going for the unit. Again, not financial advice, but it's just smart because there's a lot of units coming up soon. The rental market in Melbourne is also undergoing a crisis, guys. So with historically low vacancy rates of like 1% for houses and 1.7% for units, rental rates have skyrocketed by 12% for houses and 23.3% for units research over the past year, the decline in vacancy rates can be attributed to Melbourne's strong economy and job market, which is attracting more people to the city and driving up demand for housing. So in conclusion, guys, the decline in vacancy rates in Melbourne is a positive sign of the city's robust economy and growing population. Although it may be challenging for renters to find a place, I feel for them, but Melbourne still remains a desirable city to live in and to work in, and especially if you're a Gen Z looking for a property, this is the best time to look to Melbourne. So guys, jump in the comments, let me know what you think and what should I make next in my next YouTube video.